All right. Chapter 8. Elidor speaks to his disciples. I have chosen you from the many because of your eagerness, your attentiveness, your serenity, and your self-discipline. These are the basic qualities required. You must also prove yourselves loyal and adaptable, strong and trustworthy, intelligent and unselfish, free of all vices and bad traits, efficient, self-reliant, and stable. When I was given my prophethood, I was told to initiate only the worthy persons who had proven their self-mastery and trustworthiness. Each of you must snap the knot of the heart. You must study the scriptures constantly, and apart from these, read words which are beautiful, inspiring, and true. You must constantly strive for tranquility of heart, for self-control, for self-harmony. Be kind and considerate at all times, and always maintain purity of thought. Live good lives, practice frugality, but false austerity for your own inner edification is impure. When self-control or self-discipline becomes self-inflicted torture, or when the intent is to hurt another, then they are servants of evil. However, sacrifices such as I have taught, the kindly acts of everyday living, are not to be abandoned because you are disciples. Strive each day to achieve greater self-harmony, for this is the swiftest path upward. The senses and body cravings must be disciplined, otherwise they would assume control. It is not sufficient to be spiritually developed. You must ensure that the body is completely controlled by the soul spirit within. Therefore, you must not succumb before the rigors of life. You must not pamper yourselves. You must obtain victory over heat and cold, over the craving for food and drink, over the weaknesses of the flesh, and over the call of comfort. You must cultivate persistence and resolution, for determination is essential on the path. The women must practice all womanly virtues, such as decorum, decency, modesty, sincerity, devotion, purity in all things, cleanliness, and love of love. They must be free of all sensuality, lewdness, and crudeness. They must maintain an evenness of mind through all things, whether pleasant or unpleasant. They must aim for a single outpouring of pure love, a love never straying, never deceptive. They must have contentment of heart so that they can enjoy solitude, avoiding vain enjoyments and the noisy multitude. The men must seek contentment and calmness within the outwardly display of steadfast and unruffled front. They must be courageous, generous, truthful, strong in character, and healthy in body. They must cheerfully accept austerity and have the ability to endure privation, solitude, and rigorous life. They will have a distaste for aggression, for bullying, for the arrogant and haughty, for the cruel, and for the boasters. In men and women, there will be a constant yearning to awaken the soul spirit. There is to be an ideal to be upheld and a vision to follow. You may practice all things and follow any way of life consistent with the spiritual aim set out in the scriptures. Hating another unjustifiably is wrong, but hatred itself is not necessarily wrong. There is no wrong in hating cruelty, wickedness, arrogance, and many other things of evil. The measure of all things is to be how they affect the sole aim and purpose of life, the upward flight of man. In seeking contentment and peace, beware that you do not fall into the pits of complacency, passiveness, and inertia. Apathy also sets its trap, and when caught in any of these, you will be doomed to a spiritual death. The purpose of earthly life is to experience. Therefore, be wise enough to understand that though contentment and peace may be desirable, they are no more than that. They are not prime objectives. There are two kinds of people in the world. There are those who must chase enjoyment and pleasure because there is no happiness within them. They are empty and have to suck happiness from people with whom they associate or from their environment, or have to obtain it by external stimulation. Those are the spiritually deficient. Then there are those who are inwardly happy. They shed joy and contentment wherever they go. They are a lamp of happiness, giving out a bright glow which all may enjoy. Those can enjoy external things and find happiness outside themselves, but are not dependent on them. They are spiritually healthy. Some people are like the uncomprehending butterflies fluttering aimlessly from flower to flower in sensation and pleasure. Then there are the spiritually strong who are like hawk-eyed birds flying directly towards their objective, riding high above lower creatures. Those are the two kinds of people, but the spiritually deficient cannot recognize themselves. Always seek to, man, always seek the beautiful in life and add to it. Turn aside from all forms of vulgarity and crudeness, but it would be better to replace them with graciousness and loveliness. However, do not forget that all too often a man seeking the beautiful becomes soft, and it is well established that beauty can ruin a man. Be a man of few words. This does not mean become dumb, but make your words have value. It means avoid idle chatter. A man can be judged by the company he keeps, so make sure you are always in good company. Avoid all persons of bad repute, for they follow a path of destruction. Be vigorous and alive, never fearing hard work. No living man can ever fully renounce work or effort, so avoid being numbered among the dead. Be a master of life. This is one who has his body and emotions firmly in rein. Though hard-pressed by tribulations and afflictions, he remains steadfast. His mind is never confused. He knows what has to be done, what is expected of him, and does it. He strikes swiftly when action is needed or just keeps plodding along the path. His mind is clear regarding his duty, and he knows his obligations and does not shirk at them. He is always a pillar of strength to his weaker brethren, who are the masters of life. When you can ride the stormy seas of sorrow, when you are not overcome by pleasure, when you can control the passions, master fear, discard anger, and whatever comes, maintain a quiet and steady manner, you will be a master of life. When you can accept all your obligations cheerfully, do your duty at all times, accept whatever comes, be it good or ill, with steadfast heart, remain calm in the midst of confusion and upheaval, you will be a master of life. When you can temper all your desires with prudence, resist temptations to weakness, and bring all urges under control. When you can bring all senses into harmony, control all emotion, overcome the greed for possession, smother unwholesome desires, you will be a master of life. When you can subdue anger, dispel dismay, never forget where your duty lies, and be completely free from confusion of mind, you will be a master of life. As the worldly works selfishly and in bondage to worldliness, so does the master of life work unselfishly for the good of mankind. He is inspired by the highest ideals of man. He knows that hatred and cruelty, lust and desire for possessions have their roots in the lower natures of men, in the beast within them. These things the masters learned long ago. Searching their hearts with wisdom, they found a stirring response to something greater and discovered the bond of union between man and the spirit. When the master of life knows his true nature and understands the unity of contact, he is freed from all delusions and sorrow. He rises to something greater above. Self-control and harmony form the first step towards becoming a master of life. Harmony meaning tranquility within and harmonious relationships without. Self-control means self-control in all things. Even an artist must exercise self-control when creating. The tradesman must control his sharp tools and the physician his knife. Everything man does requires self-control in one form or another. The master of life has to do more than this. He has to transform his whole life into a creative act. Self-control and creativity going hand in hand. Only self-control of itself is not enough. It must be subordinated to goodwill and loving kindness. The master of life must be conscious of his true nature. He must develop the threefold power, self-control, creativity, and effort within himself, and reach out for the threefold attainables beyond: love, perfection, and truth. You, my disciples, must become masters of life, never regretting the past nor worrying about the future, but always applying yourselves to whatever is in hand at present. The master of life knows what are good thoughts and what are bad thoughts, the first being beneficial, the second not. They know what to tell and what not to tell. They know what to do and what not to do. They know what serves and what does not, what is good and what is bad. If a house is seen to be on fire, this immediately suggests the getting of water or saving whatever may be within. The commonplace man does not know how to act. He acts foolishly or in haste. The master of life does not get excited. He keeps his head. He does not stand aside, wringing his hands. He does not rush about or get in the way, impeding others. He does not raise his voice. He does not offer futile sympathy. He remains calm and quietly and efficiently does what needs doing. He takes charge or places himself at the disposal of those who are better fitted to assume control. The master of life is not bound by fetters the ignorant wear, neither is he misguided into ways of darkness by the blind. Every thought and act is considered, for he knows the power of oft-repeated thoughts, desires, and actions to cut deep grooves into the soul's spirit. He is no longer a prisoner of the flesh, but the charioteer of his body. I call upon each of you to take your burden and travel the long and leading to mastership of life. The progress of the pilgrims who have taken this road is indicated by their conduct. The instability has been left behind, the excesses are gone, the demanding desires are dropped, the spitefulness, greed, and conceit have been discarded, wickedness and malice are thrown aside. One by one they have been sloughed off, as the snake sheds its skin. As masters of life, you will call upon others to follow you in the pilgrimage. They will have to be resolute and strong, willing to devote their whole lives to serving the cause of truth. They will have to study diligently the pages of the scriptures and search ever deeper into the inmost recesses of their being. Their first step will be in overcoming the greatest of all man's delusions, that of thinking the body comprises the whole being. As masters of life, you will set an example far beyond reach of the commonplace man. You will be known from others by profound serenity and resolute steadfastness, just as the commonplace man is distinguished by ignorance, by restlessness, the urge to hide himself in pleasure, and by enslavement to prejudice and emotion. Poise and confidence, the marks of real wisdom and knowledge, distinguish the masters of life. Unsteadiness, shiftiness, unreliability, ever-changing opinions, and fluctuating loyalties distinguish the commonplace man. Undue consideration for the outer body and the satisfaction of its desires marks the commonplace man, and his concern for material things is the prime cause of his delusion. In a master of life, the mind has escaped from worldly delusions. Like a bird freed from its cage, and in the liberated mind every doubt is stilled by certainty. Many disciples heed what I say, be steadfast in heart and mind, dodging and pursuing the pilgrimage, cheerfully accepting the trials and tribulations which will beset you. Always seek the companionship of congenial and thoughtful fellow wayfarers. If you must pray, then remember the prayers of quiet silence. Develop your soul spirit by contemplation of life, meditation of the scriptures, and visualization of the soul spirit's form of beauty and glory. The following are things you must strive against and overcome, so that they are completely banished from your nature. You have heard them before, but they cannot be repeated too often. All forms of anger, recklessness, cruelty, and boastfulness, all tendencies towards falsehood, deceit, and dishonesty, or towards lewdness, obscenity, or lust, fornication, seduction, and the degradation of women are forbidden. Cheating, insincerity, gossiping, slander, tale-bearing are unworthy of you. Such things as an unforgiving nature, moral weaknesses, cowardice, instability, irresolution, fickleness, and intemperance are to be eliminated. Undue love of comfort, of worldly or sensual pleasures, and all forms of uncleanliness in mind and body must be overcome. Stomach gratification is not wrong, but is not to be overdone. Never indulge in argument or discussion as to the form and nature of the Supreme Spirit, for this is folly. An understanding of these is beyond the unawakened finite mind, though the mind of a master may grasp what they are. Therefore, defer all argument and discussion until you are one. There is much talk among you concerning the nature of worship. Understand this. True worship is seeking to unite the spirit below with the spirit above. To do this, you must have a heart purged of all evil thoughts, a tongue undefiled by falsehood or tainted with deceit and hypocrisy, and a life free of all malice and hatred. Even this is not enough. You must have a life filled with love and good deeds. Only when in this state are you fit to worship. When you talk about the worthlessness of worship, you are condemning yourselves. Are you condemning yourselves? Purifying worship of which you speak means all acts which tend to burn up carnally and worldliness within the body. As true disciples, you must spend your whole conscious life in purposeful and constructive thinking. You must be doers, not dreamers. When you withdraw into the silence to worship, remember the great jewels of prayer: serenity, purity, and trust. The prophets who have gone before held that a kindly and pure heart is the only worship required to benefit man. This may be so, but surely tranquility and trust are also needed. You will learn that the true greatness and goodness of pilgrims traveling the road with you are often hidden from the eyes of men because of their unusual way of life. Commonplace men will often think them deluded or men who have lost their reason. How many of you have not hesitated because you feared the opinions of others, the entreaties of loved ones, or the thoughts of possible suffering and discomfort? I have spoken of discomfort. This I say again. Too much comfort is not for you. Neither should you sleep too much or too little. You must overcome all tendencies toward sloth and carelessness, for these will sap your spiritual stamina. Do not be impatient, for advancement. Slow progress is often the best. If someone breaks a hatching egg before its time, no chick will emerge. When the time is ripe, the shell will be broken from within and an healthy chick will emerge to life. If the shell is broken before the chick is ready, that chick will be dead. So it is with the awakening soul spirit. Let it emerge from within of its own accord. Until you have purged your hearts of all impurities and washed away all the worldly filth, you cannot even set foot on the lower rung of the ladder leading to enlightenment and awakening. When you speak of the mating of spiritual and mortal, you are wrong. Under no circumstances can spirit mate with mortal, though it is certainly true that spirit can enter mortal. It is well to know what spirit can do and what it cannot do, for it has its limitations. Should any man come directly seeking truth and knowledge of the true way, let him first seek someone to introduce him into the body of the select who wait. Then in the course of time, as he is observed and his manner of talk and bearing is noted, so will one come to him and call him before the primary selector. Life is such that though it is easy enough to become an initiate of a moderately good or bad man, it is difficult indeed to meet a really good one. You will choose candidates from discipleship who may become masters of life. No commonplace man may be accepted. They must be calm and wise, recognizing what is real, desirable, important, and true, and what is false, elusive, trivial, and unworthy of attention. They must be ones who have overcome and are aware of true values, who have no inclinations towards anything not actively assisting them in the search. They must not be weak of character, neither must they be seeking refuge. Three things must be brought together in combination: the sacred scriptures, the wise instructor, and the eager and diligent pupil. The sacred scriptures are not to be swallowed as one does a medicinal compound. They are to be as assimilated slowly and digested with reason and experience. True enlightenment and the road to truth are found only by way of intelligence rooted in truthfulness and reason. Some have said it is difficult to be both intelligent and absolutely sincere after examining true motives, but this shall not apply to the chosen candidates. Never forget, it is the meaning, not the mere form of words in the sacred scriptures, which are of value. A silken mantle may look better than a coarse woolen one, but which serves best in providing warmth. Also keep in mind that the scriptures are guides. They cannot undertake the hard work nor assume the burden. These are things for the candidates alone. The purpose of the sacred scriptures is also to show men what life should be, how they should be governed, how they should conduct themselves, what they should keep, and what they should discard.